Oh, hello there. Thank you for watching. Why are you still here? Go watch the video. Oh wait, I control the pacing of the video. Ooh, that's my bad. Scurry along now. January 7th, 2190. The Zenkethi fleet has started to advance on Ferenginar, and to engage the Federation flagship, the U.S.S. Enterprise.
Shields up. Red alert.
The Zenkethi destroyers focus fire at Enterprise's warp drive, and the frigates continuously assault all sides of the ship, trying to disable its shields completely. Enterprise's deflectors start to fail, and a torpedo hits one of the nacelles and damages two of the pulse phase cannons, leaving the ship with only one pulse phase cannon and its torpedo launchers. With Enterprise's deflector shields failing, it sustains multiple hull breaches. Casualty reports flood in from all parts of the ship. Limited sensors detect a fleet warping into the system, but they could not be identified. Enterprise also loses contact with Ferenginar when its communication systems are damaged. The unidentified fleet enters the system, but sensors have been knocked offline and the fleet was observed to be on an intercept course. Captain Harry Palm orders his first officer Charlie Ghent to conduct evacuation procedures and abandon ship while he overloads the warp drive to stop the Zenkethi from attacking Ferenginar. But before they can start, the unidentified fleet arrives and starts firing at the Zenkethi, giving Enterprise time to mend crucial components and get back into the fight. Harry Palm orders all power to the remaining pulse phase cannon, and a full torpedo spread launched at one of the Zenkethi destroyers. The crew is able to restore minimal sensors, and with the unknown fleet much closer, they are identified as Ferengi mercenaries. The main Ferengi fleet arrives and catches the Zenkethi in a disorganized state. Together with Enterprise and the mercenaries, they destroy 2 destroyers and 5 frigates. This causes the Zenkethi to retreat. Both Ferengi fleets follow, but Enterprise has received severe damage and is barely able to move, but plots a course to the Ferengi starbase. After arriving at the starbase, final casualty reports are in. There was a total of 28 fatalities, 17 major injuries, and 23 minor injuries. Starfleet Command has decided to recall Enterprise back to Earth once it can reliably travel under its own power. April 1st, 2190. The election for Federation President has concluded. The winner is Jonathan Archer, and he is immediately called for peace talks to hopefully end the war, but until a ceasefire is signed, Starfleet has orders to completely sever the supply lines to the Zenkethi fleet. June 28th, 2190. The defense of Ferenginar has significantly weakened the Zenkethi fleet, but now the Breen Confederacy is aggressively pushing towards Ferenginar. This has caused the Starfleet Admiralty and President Jonathan Archer to change the First Response Fleet's orders. Its new orders are to engage what remains of the Zenkethi fleet, then proceed into Ferengi space and assist against the Breen. July 10th, 2190. The First Response Fleet is currently en route to the SHIELD system, then onto the Volchok and Gavinia systems, to hopefully find and confront the remainder of the Zenkethi fleet, or repel the Breen if needed. October 3rd, 2190. Federation scientists have requested funding to continue research into modulated phasers, which they claim would be capable of matching the frequency of the deflector shields they are firing at, resulting in more damage to them. The Federation Science Council has approved the request for extra funding, and they estimate that Starfleet will receive a prototype within the next few months. February 9th, 2191. The remainder of the Zenkethi fleet has been found in the Theta Cygni system, and the First Response Fleet has been diverted to intercept the fleet before it can make it back to a starbase for repairs. February 17th, 2191. The Bolnians have sent a fleet of volunteers to help with the war effort, but a miscommunication has led to the Bolnian fleet warping into the Theta Cygni system and encountering the Zenkethi fleet. The First Response Fleet has increased speed, pushing their warp drives beyond safety limits in an attempt to render assistance to the Bolnian fleet. February 18th, 2191. The Bolnian fleet was able to hold its own against the Zenkethi, since they were split up and disorganized. With the arrival of the First Response Fleet, the Zenkethi attempted to withdraw. We managed to destroy 2 of the destroyers and 2 frigates, along with the outpost in the system. Now the First Response Fleet will continue on course to confront the advancing Breen. June 15th, 2191. The U.S.S. Gagarin, under the command of Captain Ziva Vegas, has accidentally entered the Hoffer system, which is controlled by the Breen. The Breen outpost in the system detects the Gagarin and fires at the vessel. The outpost overwhelms Gagarin's deflector shields and inflicts a hull breach near engineering. Captain Ziva Vegas was able to engage the warp drive before they were hit by torpedoes. Gagarin has sustained severe damage and is en route to a Ferengi starbase, then back to Earth. There were 4 fatalities and 10 injuries sustained in the fight. July 1st, 2191. The Federation Science Outpost in the Altair system has detected an illegal settlement of humans on Altair 6, which is inhabited. After further investigation, it is discovered that the settlement is made up of smugglers and other criminals. They presumably settled on the inhabited planet because Starfleet cannot interfere with pre-warp cultures because of the Prime Directive, but they are incorrect in thinking Starfleet will let them remain there, as General Joss Hayes has been dispatched with Makos to arrest the smugglers and destroy their settlement before the natives of the planet discover it. August 3rd, 2191. In a lightning raid, the Makos seize control of the settlement after a brief firefight and have arrested all of the smugglers and other criminals. They have been transported to orbit and are being taken back to Earth to stand trial. The Makos place demolition charges across the settlement and completely vaporize it, leaving no trace of its existence besides scorch marks on the ground. January 2nd, 2192. The peace talks between President Jonathan Archer and Strategos Alexad have been relatively successful, with the Sankathi agreeing to withdraw any and all forces from Ferengi territory, and agree to pay limited war reparations to the Ferengi. With the Sankathi out of the war, we can completely focus on the Breen, since they still refuse to attend any peace talks. March 27th, 2192. The First Response Fleet and the Ferengi Fleet are to engage the Breen starbase in the Braxton system. The Breen starbase has been captured, and the First Response Fleet came out of the battle relatively unscathed, as the starbase did not focus on any vessel in particular. The Gorbog class was designed in the late 2150s to be a defensive starbase. With a length of 1,000 meters and a width of 750 meters, it has an estimated crew complement of 700, spread across 20 decks. The starbase has polarized hull plating and is armed with mounted disruptor cannons. It also has a fusion power core and an extensive communications array and navigational array. May 12, 2192. The Federation colony on Nueva Sonora has been investigating several anomalies in the moon's biosphere. The ecosystem is remarkably unstable and has not developed correctly according to projected models for a world of this type. Scientists of the colony have discovered a large underground terraforming complex that must have been built thousands of years ago. The equipment seems to have been deactivated in the middle of the terraforming process, leaving the moon's biosphere in its current unfinished state. The Federation Science Council has taken great interest in this site because they theorize that the equipment could be restored to continue terraforming the moon. They will need to study this equipment very closely before being given the green light to test their theory. July 11th, 2192. The First Response Fleet has been ordered to capture the starbase protecting the Breen homeworld of Breen Prime. The Ferengi fleet is also joining for the assault. The Breen's main fleet is believed to be in the vicinity of the Rotaniv system, so there should be no Breen vessels to contest with. The First Response Fleet arrives late, causing the Ferengi fleet to take the brunt of the damage, but luckily it was not too severe. With the starbase captured, President Jonathan Archer is hoping the Breen will come to the negotiating table so this war can finally be over. September 17th, 2192. Continued work on photonic torpedoes has led to smaller specialized components, allowing us to free up space which can be used to make more powerful warheads or make smaller, highly maneuverable torpedoes. These photon torpedoes are of great interest to Starfleet Command, which wishes to install these as soon as possible. May 5th, 2193. Captain Ignacio Martinez has decided to retire from Starfleet. He says he's looking forward to a nice calm life at his home on Earth. His ship, the U.S.S. Iapetus, has been marked for decommissioning, and is ordered to the A.D. Leona starbase where it will sit with the U.S.S. Armstrong until Starfleet decides what to do with them. July 20th, 2193. We have received reports from the Ferengi Alliance that they have confronted the Breen fleet and have successfully destroyed it. Sadly, this attack resulted in significant casualties for the Ferengi fleet. With the destruction of the Breen fleet, they should hopefully be willing to come to the negotiating table. August 29th, 2193. The war is finally over. The Breen have withdrawn all forces from the Ferengi Alliance and have agreed to pay limited war reparations. Celebrations erupt across the Federation. The war claimed the lives of almost 200 Starfleet officers and almost 50 civilians as a result of raids on civilian transports. This has caused a massive increase in enrollment in Starfleet Academy, and has opened the eyes of Starfleet Command that the Federation needs a better plan for defending itself against the increasing number of hostile neighbors. October 1st, 2193. The U.S.S. Enterprise has limped back to Earth. Its damage is extensive and repairs will be costly. Since a large amount of resources are already going to be used on Enterprise, it has been decided that it will be completely refit to the Columbia-class variant, and receive multiple experimental technologies, including stronger deflector shields and an extremely experimental warp drive that could theoretically propel the vessel at a warp factor of 7. The Columbia class was designed in the mid-2180s by the Federation Starfleet to be a complete refit of the NX class designed by United Earth. At a length of 225 meters and a width of 135 meters, it has a crew complement of 135 spread across 10 decks. The U.S.S. Enterprise has a slightly altered design that incorporates an extremely experimental Type 5 exploration warp drive that can theoretically propel the vessel at a sustained warp factor of 7. The ship has experimental coherent deflector shields, titanium hull plating, and armed with 2 light modulated phasers, 1 medium modulated phaser, and 3 photon torpedo launchers. The ship is equipped with a Type 7 optical main computer, multiple tractor beam emitters, matter transporter, 2 shuttle pods, and a Mako detachment for use in emergency situations. December 8th, 2193. Citizens on Mars have seized the Verteron Array last night and have rallied rebels across Mars. The local government attempted to control the situation but failed. Now these rebels with unknown intentions control an extremely dangerous weapon and have refused all attempts at negotiation. The Makos have been ordered to regain control of the Verteron Array. The strike was swift, just taking 1 hour. The Makos entered the compound from multiple points using shuttles and transporters. Despite a few casualties, most of the rebels surrendered. The rest of the rebellions across the planet surrendered when the compound was captured. The reason for the rebellion was apparently that too many immigrants from other worlds were moving to Mars, and they thought they had to put a stop to it. Mars is once again at peace, and within a few days the Mars terraforming project will resume. August 27th, 2194. The scientists working on the modulated phasers have presented a final prototype to Starfleet, meaning that these modulated phaser beams can be installed on Starfleet vessels. The first response fleet is en route to the Utopia Planitia fleet yards, where most of the ships will receive complete overhauls of their weapon systems. September 8th, 2194. The Starfleet Ship Design Bureau has submitted designs for a multi-mission ship class, named the Poseidon class. Starfleet Command and the Federation Council have approved the design and have ordered 4 ships of the class. They will be commissioned as the U.S.S. Poseidon, U.S.S. Equestria, U.S.S. Ratbeard, and the U.S.S. Eldon. The Poseidon class was designed in the mid-2190s by Starfleet to be a multi-mission ship that can perform any task. At a length of 150 meters and a width of 130 meters, it has a crew complement of 60 spread across 5 decks. The class has Type 5 deflector shields, a titanium hull plating. It's also equipped with 3 medium modulated phasers and 2 photon torpedo launchers. The class boasts the most advanced targeting computer in the fleet, as well as a matter transporter, multiple tractor beam emitters, and 2 shuttle pods. January 2nd, 2195. Due to major clerical errors, parts of the Federation colony Zybutius Prime have fallen behind in infrastructure maintenance and accommodation services. The citizens living in this area have to contend with rather bleak living conditions. The problem has been brought up to the Federation Council, and extra funds have been made available to the planetary government so that they may remedy the issue. March 3rd, 2195. Bolivian Prime Minister Bob Fogg has arrived on Earth to sign the Bolivian Ascension Treaty, bringing the Bolivian League into the Federation as a member world. President Jonathan Archer and Prime Minister Bob Fogg attend a number of events that are watched by billions of Federation citizens. May 12, 2195. The U.S.S. Enterprise has been sent to investigate strange subspace readings in the Alpha Centauri system. After a day in orbit of Alpha Centauri A, with no progress in locating the source of the subspace readings, Captain Harry Palm prepares to leave the system, but moments later the ship's sensors detect a surge in subspace activity, followed by the appearance of an alien ship off the port bow. Hailing the vessel proves fruitless, and after several minutes of silence the vessel warps away. Captain Harry Palm decides to follow the vessel, while maintaining hailing frequencies. Within minutes, the Enterprise's sensor lock on the vessel starts to deteriorate. 5 minutes more and the vessel has completely disappeared from sensors, so Captain Harry Palm orders reserve power to the sensors, and another subspace disturbance is detected. Arriving at the coordinates, the vessel appears to be attempting to widen the disturbance with some form of tachyon emissions. However, as Enterprise draws closer, the emissions are cut and the vessel raises deflector shields and powers up what we suspect are weapon systems. Captain Harry Palm orders full stop and hails the vessel on all frequencies. After about 1 minute of silence, the vessel starts to move closer to Enterprise. Then alerts blare across the ship as transporter beams are detected originating from the alien vessel. At the same time, the vessel warps away. Security teams and MACOs are deployed to important parts of Enterprise and will slowly push back the borders. The teams report that the stun setting on their weapons are useless, and Captain Palm orders them to set their weapons to kill. After some time, most of the aliens are killed and 5 of them are trapped in the cargo bay. Captain Palm uses the intercom and demands their surrender, but they either do not understand or refuse. Using the cameras in the cargo bay, the aliens are observed conversing briefly, before collectively firing their weapons at the cargo bay doors. The cargo bay decompresses, launching the aliens into space along with part of a security team. Experimental emergency force fields are put in place around the section, and the ship is secured. Captain Palm orders Enterprise to search for the alien vessel, and they detect another subspace disturbance, but when they arrive, the vessel is nowhere to be seen. Casualty reports confirm that there are 7 fatalities and 12 major injuries. Enterprise will return to Utopia Planitia for repairs. November 15th, 2195. The Klingon Empire has laid claim to multiple bordering systems, and have demanded we turn them over immediately. The Federation Council is refusing this demand, and the Klingons have not performed any hostile actions as of yet. But Starfleet Intelligence reports a large increase in Klingon ship construction, and estimates that they outnumber Starfleet by 2 to 1. Causing Starfleet Command to commission a new starbase in the Beta Pictoris system, which is directly on the border of the Klingon Empire. The Drake variant was designed in the late 2180s to be an upgraded version of the Pluto-class starbase. At a length of 1,000 meters and a width of 1,000 meters, it has a crew complement of 1,500 spread across 100 decks. It has Type 6 deflector shields and titanium hull plating. The starbase is equipped with 5 mounted dedicated phasers and 1 medium modulated phaser. The starbase also boasts an advanced sensor suite, advanced subspace communication systems, matter transporters, multiple tractor beam emitters, extensive recreational and living quarters, 10 shuttle pods, and an electrostatic fusion power core. August 7th, 2196. Starfleet Command has decided to rename the First Response Fleet to the First Fleet, and plans to make another fleet called the Second Fleet once the next generation of ship designs are developed. This decision came about as a result of the Klingons' continuous military buildup. November 24th, 2196. Starfleet Command has commissioned the construction of a naval museum in orbit of Earth's moon, Luna. This museum will record all aspects of Starfleet history, including preserving at least 1 ship of each class ever used by Starfleet. To this end, the U.S.S. Armstrong has been given a skeleton crew and will be taken to Luna to be refitted into an exhibit, and be returned to the original design of the Franklin-class vessels. Sadly, it has been decided that the U.S.S. Iapetus will be deconstructed for parts. A ceremony has been scheduled, and retired Starfleet Captain Ignacio Martinez, who was the captain of the U.S.S. Iapetus for over 40 years, has requested to attend the ceremony. President Jonathan Archer has also expressed desire to attend. The U.S.S. Iapetus was commissioned in 2151, and command was given to Captain Ignacio Martinez. Within a few years, the ship and its crew distinguished itself by defending against an alien hijacking of the ship and some of its crew. Iapetus and its crew continued its distinguished service by making first contact with many alien races, including the Tellarites and Romulans. By this point, the ship was showing its age, and it was given a complete refit, making it almost new. Sadly, a ship can only last so long, and at some point it must be retired, but its legacy and service will never be forgotten. February 13th, 2197. The Benzarian Commonwealth has officially applied for Federation membership, and the Federation Council has approved the commencement of formal ascension negotiations. By the order of President Jonathan Archer, the ascension process has been streamlined. It will still be a lengthy process, but it should be faster than before. April 1st, 2197. The U.S.S. Gagarin has come across a capsule in deep space. It appears to be of human design from the late 20th century or early 21st century. Upon further investigation, the capsule is on course for a sun and will be destroyed. So Captain Ziva Vegas decides to use the tractor beam to bring it into the cargo bay. Captain Ziva Vegas and a security team investigates the interior of the capsule and discovers a number of cryogenic hibernation chambers. Several of them appear to be occupied. Further investigation reveals that the capsule's occupants were all declared dead hundreds of years prior, though the U.S.S. Gagarin's doctor believed that they can be revived and cured with modern medical techniques. After the cryogenic chambers were moved to the medical bay, the capsule's occupants were thawed out. They appear to be confused and on edge. The humans recovered from the capsule continue to behave in a strange manner. It's only after an explosion damages the cargo bay that Earth transmits their backgrounds, and it is found out that they were violent criminals and former terrorists, dispatched into space as an alternative to capital punishment. They are all quickly detained and placed in the brig, and they will be transported back to Earth. September 3rd, 2197. In order to form a deflector shield, all of a ship's shield emitters must operate at the same frequency. If a weapon's frequency matches the shield's, the weapon would completely bypass the shield. Theoretically, the opposite is also true. Given the weapon's frequency, there should be a shield frequency that would completely negate the weapon. Developing and installing equipment to rapidly shift shield frequencies on Starfleet vessels will be expensive and time-consuming, but it would save lives. February 28th, 2198. The Mars terraforming project has hit another milestone. For the first time in recorded history, it's raining on Mars. The vast weather monitoring system that was installed on the planet needs further tuning to help keep track of violent storms, and not keep track of gentle drizzles. June 3rd, 2198. The Andorian representatives to the Federation Council have expressed concern about the Benzarian Commonwealth's ascension negotiations. They state that the Benzarians' pacifist views will put the Federation at risk by weakening Starfleet's ability to protect the Federation. President Jonathan Archer does not personally agree with the Andorians, but suggests a meeting between the Andorians and the Benzarians. The meeting is to be held on Benzar, and the Federation flagship Enterprise will be escorting the Andorian delegation to Benzar. July 12, 2198. Sofia Morales, the head of the Starfleet Engineering Department, has decided to retire from Starfleet. Her replacement has caused a great debate among the members of the Science Council, but a decision was made, and the new head will be Captain Cyrus Connery because of his extensive scientific background. His ship, the U.S.S. Horizon, has been ordered to the A.D. Leona starbase to be decommissioned and dismantled. A large portion of Horizon's crew has requested a transfer to the engineering department so that they may continue to work with their former captain. March 22nd, 2199. The Andorian delegates meet with the Benzarians to discuss their concerns. The Federation Charter is brought out multiple times and points out the fact that the Federation was formed by diversity, and it helped both sides to understand the different philosophies and how they could both make the Federation stronger in their own ways. September 1st, 2199. The U.S.S. Hawking, under the command of Captain J. Sinful, narrowly escaped an attempted hijacking by unknown aliens that were detected in the Rose system. The Hawking's escape was thanks to Captain J's quick thinking and to the Starfleet protocols developed after the Pellier incident in 2165 that cost the lives of all on board the U.S.S. Clayton. November 8th, 2199. Sofia Morales, former head of Starfleet Engineering, has passed away from an accident that occurred at her home on Mars. Her funeral has been planned, and she will receive a burial with full Starfleet honors. President Jonathan Archer will be attending the funeral, along with other Starfleet captains that she has worked with in the past. January 1st, 2200. The election for Federation President has begun. The candidates are incumbent Jonathan Archer, former President Nathan Samuels, Governor Maxwell Forrest, and retired Starfleet Captain Ignacio Martinez. Jonathan Archer's agenda is the expansion of the Federation by bringing in new member worlds and expanding our diplomatic dealings with other governments. Nathan Samuels' campaign is focused on the development of Federation colonies and founding more colonies, including expanding the Mars Terraforming Project into a galactic project, making more planets colonizable. Maxwell Forrest's agenda is expanding Starfleet's military arm, making it on par with fleets from the Romulan and Klingon empires. Ignacio Martinez is focused on bringing Starfleet back to a science-first organization, instead of an increasingly militaristic one. The election will be held on all Federation worlds and will end on April 1st. Thank you all for watching. If you like the specifications of the ships, there is a link down below detailing the current state of Starfleet vessels. And don't forget to check out the Star Trek New Horizons mod for Stellaris and the Star Trek mod for Space Engineers that I have used to make this video. There will be links down below for these as well. Now as always, have a wonderful day.